Thank you.
Oh. Hello. Good evening from Nigeria. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're joining us from the globe. And welcome to the ACPPN Protocol Roundtable, a conversation platform where we discuss protocol, where we take a deep dive into contemporary issues on protocol. This evening is a continuation of our last week conversation. We had a last week conversation, which was on religious protocol. So we're taking a part 2 of that conversation. And then we had Minabai Seibofa, who took the church perspective. Today, we'll also be looking at Islamic perspective of religious protocol. And we have with us a distinguished gentleman, a media expert, a public relations officer, is a protocol management enthusiast, a communication specialist, and a community developer and mobilizer. Distinguished participants, we have with us Abubakar Muhammad Musa Seriki, who is a multimedia journalist. He's going to discuss with us the Islamic perspective of religious protocol. Mohammed, you are welcome. In that vein, Minabai will take you first. We'll take the questions that most of our participants asked last week. We had some valuable questions. So we'll take those questions in the next 10 minutes or thereabout, and then we'll switch over to Mr. Abubakar to give us the Islamic perspective of the church protocol. Please do well to join via our YouTube channel, ACCPN Nigeria. Share the link, invite your friends, because they
Am I alone?
I think we lost Mr. Julius.
Okay, so I'll take it from there. So we say we would be taking Mr. Minabai Seibofa to continue with the questions we had last time about the church protocol, after which we'll be taking Alhaji Abubakar Muhammad Musa to take the Muslim aspect of the protocol role. Thank you very much, Mr. Minabai. Do you have the questions already, or you have some of them?
Yes, I have the questions. I have the questions. So once again, good evening, everyone, and good evening to the organizers of this particular protocol roundtable, and for this month's session as well. Last month we started with the religious protocol from the church perspective, and I did share some things with us, and I took us through. I just want to give a brief summary before I go into answering the questions. for the benefit of those who were not in the session last month. I took us through the historical foundations and background, where I mentioned things like the church protocol traces back its history to the early church, where believers met in their homes and under persecution, but maintained order through structured leadership. And then we went into the era of the Constantine, where public or the clergy. And then we moved into the medieval periods, where protocol became more ceremonial, where we started seeing a hierarchy, reflection of hierarchy and reverence. And then from that medieval era, we moved into the Reformation era, where you saw the likes of Martin Luther King, bringing about the Reformation. And that Reformation era talks about the simplification of the practice that we used to see in the medieval period and the era of Constantine. And in that Reformation era, we saw that though it was simplified, it still preserved the spirit of order. And that is from that age down to this time, to the modern church, we have seen how churches now adopt protocols to their denominations and cultures, while keeping the core values of order, honor, reverence for leadership, irrespective of the ages and time that protocol has gone through the church. We have seen the consistency in reverence, order, and honor for leadership. So that's for the historical background. And we did look at a lot of scriptures, 1 Corinthians 14:40, 1 Corinthians 14:33, where we are talking about God is not the author of confusion. And we saw protocol as a spiritual ministry as well. But then do well to, if you didn't meet that session, do well to go back to the YouTube channel and listen to the session extensively, where you will get more of what I'm talking about. But because of time, I want to go straight into some of the questions. I have about 6 questions, and I want to believe that I can answer those questions in the little time we have. Now, the first question I have here is, what is the proper way to welcome and seat dignitaries during a church service or special event? Now, one of the things I mentioned last time is that churches, no two church protocol is the same. Every church has its own protocol, but the binding factor is that there is order. So irrespective of how we practice protocol in different churches, one thing is common: the foundation is the same: order, honor, reverence for God, and creating a conducive atmosphere for church services to take place without people feeling like they have been embarrassed or something like that. So what is the proper way to sit and welcome dignitaries during church service or special event? One of the ways to do that is, first of all, identify beforehand. It's like having your guest list or having those who are coming to an event, knowing beforehand. Identify people coming, especially if they are VIPs, if there are people who are coming because of your bishop or because of your leader or because of your saint man or because of your pastor. Know their titles, and of course, knowing how to seat them for the special occasion that they are attending. Now, one of the things you also want to do is to welcome them with warmth. Welcome them with warmth and dignity. Now, how do you do that? You go ahead to assign protocol officers. Protocol officers that have been trained, of course, to receive them at the entrance or at any point where they're coming from. One other way to do this as well is to escort. So one of the things protocol officers do is to escort dignitaries, is to escort guests, and we don't point. All right. So we do something like the stretching of hands to show direction, but we don't point and say, that is your seat over there. We escort them, we'll walk them to their seats, and we never gesture or we never shout directions at them like, go there, take your left, take your right before you go take a seat. We're answering the question, what is the proper way to seat dignitaries? So our attention is on dignitaries. Now, if your dignitary is coming again, you need to also understand the place for reserved seating. And these reserved seats are clearly marked out in the front rows or in the seats designated for the VIPs. All right, let me go to the next question. There is a lot to answer from that part as well. The next question is, how should church protocol officers handle late arrivals of VIP guests without disrupting the service? One of the things that we always say in protocol is that not all plan will go as planned. And that is why we should always have a plan B, a plan C, and a plan D, because events like this will always happen. VIPs will and may arrive late. And when that happens, how do we do it? Now, he will face to plan. We say plans to fail. Therefore, as a protocol officer in church, you need to plan for the unexpected. And that's why we don't plan without planning for the things we don't plan for. So we plan for it. We think in advance that there will always be some VIPs who will arrive late. So when we plan for it, the next thing to do is to reserve a few front row seats for dignitaries who may arrive late, or special sitting positions for those who will arrive late, so that when we escort them into the service or into the occasion, it will not cause disruption, because we are saying, how do we handle late arrivals for VIPs without disrupting the service? And one of the things that protocol does is to keep the flow of service, is to keep order. So when guests arrive late and we don't bring them in a certain way, it will disrupt the flow of the service. And the essence of protocol has been disrupted. The essence of protocol has not been met. So one of the other ways we handle this is to use quiet movement. I talked about that. So we want to assign an officer near the entrance to receive them and sit them quietly. Receive them and sit them quietly. All right. And how we do this is also very important. For example, when a song is going, probably after a song, and not during when pastor is teaching or the bishop is teaching. At that point, we know that everybody is seated. And so when we bring in any guest, there will be disruption. And that is not what we want to achieve. So we take a look at bringing them in during non-sensitive moments. Non-sensitive moment. It means that at that point, probably serious activity is not going on. We just bring them in. Okay, how do we handle such late arrivals? We want to avoid public attention. We should never announce or escort VIPs loudly. We just have to do it in a very subtle way. We coordinate in a very beautiful manner and bring them in, and also communicate in advance. Now, if possible, confirm arrival times of this VIP and brief the teams to adjust calmly when the delay happens. There will be more answers to that when if you reach out to me, and I'll be glad to respond to that. The next question is, what dress code guidelines should be observed by protocol officers during official church functions? Every dress code is determined by the church. Is determined by the doctrines of the church. Remember, in the first session, I mentioned protocol is about the doctrines. The doctrines of a church guides everything that the church believes. So whether it's Celestial Church of Christ, whether it's Cherubim and Seraphim, whether it's Christ Embassy, whether it's Winners Chapel, whether it's any church, whether it's the Brotherhood of the Cross and Star, the dress code guidelines are observed according to the doctrines of the church. So therefore, the dress code are this. You want to dress modestly and professionally. Your outfits should be clean. They should be well fitted and reflect what is the church standard of decency. What is the church standard of decency? No two church has the same standard of decency. what will be decent in one church may not be decent in another. Therefore, when you go to a particular church and you see them dressing in a particular way, that is the standard of decency in the church. For example, deeper lifers don't dress like Christ, people who go to Christ Embassy. For example, people who attend Cherubim and Seraphim Church don't dress like any other church member. What is the standard form of decency in a church will determine how the church dress code is. So there is no universal applicable dress code to all churches because we are all churches. No, every church has its doctrine, and whatever is the standard of decency in that church, that is what will guide the dress code of the church. Uniform appearance, use coordinated colors or uniforms for easy identification. A lot of churches have uniforms for who are the protocol officers, who are the ushers, who are the greeters, who are the choir, and every other person. All right. So one of the things you want to do in your dress code guidelines is that you want to avoid distractions with your dressing. No flashy jewelries, loud colors, or heavy fragrances. All these are determined by what is the standard of decency in that church. Take a look at your footwear as well, and every other thing that has to do with your personal grooming, your neat hair, minimal makeup, and good hygiene that reflect discipline and respect, all right? The next question is, how can protocol officers ensure smooth coordination between ministers, choirs, and ushers during special programs? During a session in the virtual protocol mentorship session while I was teaching, I mentioned that protocol officers go as far as even checking the microphone. And one of the participants asked, what has microphone got to do with protocol officers? Why should protocol officers go check the microphone? And I said, protocol officers don't work in isolation. They are the coordinating ministers between all teams that are present to host a service or an event. So if a microphone is not working, if the ushers doesn't understand what they are doing, if the choir doesn't know what to do at every point in time, it means that there is no coordination. So protocol officers ensure smooth coordination, number one, through holding pre-service briefings. What happens during this briefing is that you meet all service teams before the program to review flow and responsibilities. When is the choir coming up? Where is the usher supposed to stand? Who is welcoming who? Who is introducing who? All these hold during pre-service briefings so that we understand that sound is checked, the batteries in the microphone are checked, and every other area. Okay, so one of the ways we do this is also to follow the order of service. That's what is called the order of service. It's about knowing what comes next and prepare the next team in advance. Okay, I'm trying to rush this. Let me say this come to the final one. What is the correct order of procession and recession for clergy and guest ministers in a formal church service? We will see order of procession in mostly the Orthodox churches. You will see this in Anglican churches. You will see this in Catholic churches. You will see this in most of the African religious churches, where order of procession is the likes of Baptist and all the rest of the where order of procession is really done. I grew up in Cherubim and Seraphim Church, and that was the first place I saw procession. So procession is basically seen in some of these Orthodox churches, all right? But in the Pentecostals, we don't see, of course, the Pentecostals fall in the Reformation ages. Therefore, a lot of these liturgical ceremonies, a lot of these ceremonies that come with the clergy has been so liberalized that these things don't matter anymore, but the foundations remains the same. Therefore, if we want to take a look at that way in processions, then we will be talking about the Anglican, the Catholic, the Baptist, and all of the Orthodox churches, where you have the cross bearers, where you have the ushers or protocol teams members, you have the guest ministers, you have the associate pastors or elders, and then we have the minister, senior minister or pastor, who is the officiating minister, the host or presiding bishop if the person is present. This is for the entrance. When we are entering, the choir stays in front, followed by the next set of persons, followed by the guest ministers, followed by elders, followed by the officiating minister, and the bishop or the minister of the church is the last person when we do procession. In recession comes after service, and it is backward up, all right? So the presiding bishop now stays in front, leading the team, and followed by that same order. Each church has its own procession pattern, but this is how it is when it comes to procession in the church. But the Pentecostals, we don't really have this procession and recession. Finally, how can churches accommodate diverse cultural practices while maintaining order and respect? We live in a multicultural world where it is not about who the founder of the church is or where the founder of the church comes from. So people from different parts of the world, people from different parts of the cultures where the church is domiciled, come into that place. So how do we do this? Recognize diversity. Conflicts do not happen because we don't understand ourselves or because we hate ourselves. Conflict arises because we have failed to recognize diversity. Therefore, when people come together, we need to understand the diversity. Understand that worship styles, greeting styles, and gestures differ across different cultures. So if I'm an Ijaw man, go to the Yoruba land and attend church, be sure to understand that I would have some form of, culture shock in some sense, to understanding how you guys worship, how people worship in Yoruba land, how people worship in Ijaw land, how people worship in the Hausa land and other parts of the world. So we need to recognize diversity and understand that worship styles, greeting styles, and gestures differs across cultures. All right, so what you want to do again is to define what's acceptable within your church's doctrine and worship setting. So you will see some churches doctrine are tilted towards where the person comes from. And once you begin to see a church or a group of people like that, you begin to see that there will be segregation, there will be this practice that will separate the them and the us, because I don't understand where you are coming from and you don't understand where I'm coming from. We'll now begin to see that we don't respect each other. So you will want to set a clear standard and define what's acceptable within your church doctrine. And that's why protocol training is important. Cultural intelligence. Churches need to also take programs in cultural intelligence, because people from Yoruba, Hausa, Ijaw, Efik, Ibibio, all around the world gather to worship one God, even if they call that God in different languages. So when we meet together, we want to define what is the acceptable thing. Do we have a Yoruba church or an Hausa church or a Fulani church or a Yoruba church or an Ijaw church? Or we want the church of God that is very clear on the doctrine of Christ. So we want to balance flexibility with structure. You allow cultural expressions that add beauty and meaning without compromising order of reverence. In my church currently, the Transforming Church, from now till the end of the year, we are having different services. For every first Sunday of the month, we are having members of the church dress in different cultural attire. The next service, which is going to be next month, is going to be in the Hausa attire. Last month was Igbo attire. The other previous month was Yoruba attire. That is a church that recognizes the cultural diversity of the people, of the worshippers. Yet in all of this, the foundation of honor, reverence remains the same. That is how that is how churches can accommodate diverse cultural practices while maintaining order and respect. They promote mutual respect and teach that protocol is not to suppress culture, but to harmonize it within the spirit of worship. Ladies and gentlemen, no two church protocol is the same, but the foundations that guide the principles of how people worship, how they reverence God, how they take care of the people in church, and how they create a conducive atmosphere for people to come in and worship God is the same. Therefore, it is important for churches, leaders, pastors, bishops to begin to open themselves to protocol learning, to protocol training, to protocol education, so we can create a much more conducive atmosphere, and to God be the glory. My name is Minabai Sabofar, and I am the Chief of Protocol, Shieldfield Protocol Consultants Limited. Thank you for listening, and I hope I answered the questions. If you want to reach me, of course, go to my YouTube platform and my Instagram platform, my LinkedIn platform, and let's connect. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you, Minawa. Thank you so much. I want to believe that you've done justice to the questions. It is very key understanding cultural intelligence. But in the bottom of this, all this, the foundation remains the same, which is our Lord Jesus Christ, who is the head of the church. You know, like you said, protocol is patterned along the doctrine of every church, and no two church has same doctrine and pattern. So we need to learn, we need to study, we need to unlearn and relearn. We need to take courses in protocol. Ministers, protocol officers, church administrators, we need to understand that faith meets order, and there's also where religion also meets structure. But in all, Jesus Christ is the foundation because he's the head of the church. Thank you so much for that amazing insight into religious protocol part 2, the church perspective. Thank you so much. I'm so glad, and I want to believe that our participants, our viewers have listened keenly. And if there are issues that you seem not to understand, reach out to the speaker, reach out to me, and we'll be able to connect and answer your questions accordingly. So thank you so much. We want to switch over to Abubakar Muhammad Musa, who is our guest speaker for the Islamic perspective. Malam Musa, you have the floor. I've done a bit of bio introduction about him. So, Malam Musa, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Mine is to take a look at an Islamic perspective of religious protocol. Religious protocol refers to the ethical procedural guidelines governing behavior, interactions, and decorum within religious contexts. In Islam, protocol is deeply rooted in the Holy Quran and the Sunnah, emphasizing respect, modesty, sincerity, and recognition of divine authority. Tonight, we are going to take a look at the historical evolution of protocol during the reign of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his guided companions that followed him. We will also take a look at advantages of protocol to Muslims as well as non-Muslim. We will also take a look at the relevancy of protocol in the contemporary society. Religion in every civilization is a set of standards for conduct that define both physical piety and communal order. In Islam, the concept of adab, that is etiquette, and akhlaq, moral character, forms the foundation of religious protocol. These principles are not merely formalities, but acts of devotion that demonstrates obedience to the Almighty Allah and respect for fellow human beings. Just as said by the Holy Prophet Muhammad, I have been sent, he said, and I quote, I have been sent to perfect good manners. If we take a look at the brief historical background of protocol in Islam, the root of Islamic protocol can be traced back to the early devotions, early revelations in Mecca and Medina, more than 1,447 years ago, where the Quran began to shape a new moral and social order among Arabs. Before Islam, Arabian society lacked unified ethical codes, tribal customs, often dictated behavior, sometimes leading to injustice, arrogancy, and social disorder. With the advent of Islam, the Holy Prophet traces the divine guidance that transformed social conduct into an act of worship. Protocols were revealed gradually, beginning with respect for the commands of Almighty Allah, extending to family life, style, public behavior, and governance. During the time of the Holy Prophet, the early Muslim community was educated through revelations and living by example as well. The Quran taught believers how to address the Holy Prophet, for example, how to enter homes, how to conduct business fairly, how to maintain hygiene, be it personally or even broader than that, and humility as well. These teachings formed the earliest forms of Islamic protocol, which later influenced Islamic jurisprudence, adab al-fiqh, Sufism, and governance models through Muslim community. Now, to understand more on Islamic religious protocol, Islamic religious protocol encompasses of a broad range of practices, from acts of worship to daily human interactions. For example, spiritual protocols, which deals with rules for prayer, salah, which the compulsory or mandatory prayers daily 5 times. Fasting, Saum, the mandatory one is during the holy month of Ramadan, the ninth month of Islam. Pilgrims or pilgrimage to Hajj. That is going to Saudi Arabia for Hajj. Then Zakah, charity. Secondly, social protocols, which deals with manners and greetings, visitation, speaking, and interacting between people. Thirdly, institutional protocols, which has to do with respect for religious leaders, scholars, and places of worship. Then cultural protocol, which deals with mode of dressing, dress code, hospitality, customs, and public decorum, which rooted in modesty and respect. Now let us take a look at the foundations of protocol from the Holy Quran and Sunnah. The Quran provides comprehensive guides on etiquette, akhlaq, and conduct. In the chapter 33, verse 53, Almighty Allah said, "O you who believe, do not enter the Prophet's house unless permission is granted to you." This is an example of this is a clear example of a protocol. Then also in chapter 2, verse 83, Almighty Allah said, "And speak to people good words. وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا." Then indeed Almighty Allah loves those who act justly. This is according to Almighty also in the Holy Quran, chapter 49, verse 9. The Sunnah of the Holy Prophets complements these by providing living examples from the Prophet Muhammad's lifestyle, his humility, punctuality, respect for others, regardless of heterogeneous nature of people, like their religious background, their age, and social strata, which form the golden standard for Islamic protocol. For example, during the time of Prophet Muhammad, the living embodiment of living etiquettes, including respect in gatherings, orderliness in worship, courteous speech, hospitality, hygiene, either be it personal hygiene or even beyond. Companions never raise their voices in the presence of the Holy Quran, in the presence of the Holy Prophet, as commanded by Almighty Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 49, verse 2. And guests were honored regardless of their heterogeneous nature. Protocol during the time of all rightly guided caliphs. Each caliph institutionalized protocol in governance and society, like the first caliph after Prophet Muhammad, which is Abu Bakr Siddiq. Abu Bakr Siddiq's models of humility and accountability. Then the second caliph, Umar bin Khattab, who promoted justice, consultation, and empathy. Then Usman bin Affan demonstrated modesty and unity by standardizing the Holy Quran. Ali bin Abi Talib, the fourth caliph, emphasized justice, knowledge, and respectful agreements. Now, let us take a look at categories of protocol in Islam. One, we have personal protocol, that is adab shakhsiyya, which deals with hygiene, modest dressing, and truthfulness. Each and every believer, each and every Muslim is expected to observe hygiene, modesty, as well as exhibiting truthfulness in his or her own dealings. Secondly, social and communal protocol, which is adabul mu'amala, respect for each other, regardless of heterogeneous nature of people, regardless of one's age. Even if you are older than the person you are interacting with, you are expected to respect that person. Respect is just like a two-way communication. You give as you take. You cannot, because of your age, you cannot be disrespecting who is under you in terms of age, who is under you in terms of position and whatever. Then greetings. Islam teaches each and every Muslim to be spreading salam between themselves whenever they meet, even on the road. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum, meaning peace be upon you, peace be upon you. Then avoidance of gossip. Islam prohibits gossiping of any kind by anybody once if the person is a true believer. Thirdly, religious gathering and protocol, that is adabul majalis, which is quietness. A person is not expected to just come to or enter any Islamic gathering to start distracting the assembly. Just for coming to the assembly late or for any other reason is prohibited. Then facing Qibla, most especially during prayers. Respect for scholars is a must according to the provisions of Islam. Then fourth, leadership and authority protocol. Adabul imama wal amana, which means service and accountability in leadership. Service and accountability in leadership. The role of religious protocol in modern society. In today's pluralistic world, Islamic religious protocol remains relevant as a model for civility and moral consciousness. It fosters harmony, reduces conflicts, and strengthens interfaith respect. Moreover, it helps non-Muslims to appreciate Islamic culture and correct misconceptions about its practices. Now, let us take a look at advantages of protocol to Muslims and non-Muslims in Islam. Islamic protocol offers universal benefits that transcend religious boundaries. Its ethical social values that bridges misunderstanding, promote peace, and create environments for mutual respect. For Muslims, advantages of protocol for Muslims, which include spiritual upliftment that refines soul, enhances taqwa among them. Social unity, it encourages equality and cooperation. Moral discipline, it builds upright character and curbs immorality. Strengthen identity, preserves shared Islamic values. That is advantages of protocol for Muslims. And for non-Muslims, advantages of Islamic protocol for non-Muslims. It includes interfaith respect, which encourages peaceful coexistence, just as commanded by by Almighty Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 256, Surah Al-Baqarah. Then justice, which guarantees fairness and protection under Islamic law. Then cultural understanding, that promotes tolerance and hospitality, regardless of differences among human beings. Then universal morality, that which benefits all people through shared ethics of kindness and respect. There are some challenges in observing protocol in today's society. which has to do with borrowing, modernity, globalization, and digital culture, which influence the traditional etiquettes, the traditional adabs, the original adabs that are being established many years ago. It is essential to adopt Islamic protocol to modern context without losing its spiritual essence and moral values. Each and every good Muslim is being expected to adhere to this. Conclusively, religious protocol in Islam is a dynamic expression of faith, discipline, and moral order. The Holy Prophet Muhammad, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and the rightly guided caliphs, exemplified humility, justice, and compassion, upholding Islamic protocols, ensured that society remained guided by respect, harmony, peaceful coexistence, and righteousness. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the size of my thoughts tonight. But before I go, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to thank the president of ACPPN, Mr. Mike Ikembo, for his leadership style and zeal for taking this association to greater heights. The Director of Learning and Development, Mr. Julius Nyanayo, for leading his directorate with wisdom, and with people like Mr. Nyanayo on the mantle, the journey will always be win-win. Win from the side of the ACPPN, as well as win from its members and general public, of course. And of course, to Mr. Amina Basibofa, whom I always regarded and addressed as my boss, for always trying to connect the dots. Mr. Sibofa, I want to be like you when I grow up, sir. And finally, a very big thank you to all members of ACPPN and my audience out there. Looking forward to maintain the links of mutuality subsequently. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Alam Abubakar Muhammad Musa Seriki. Thank you for that insightful, educational, and interesting perspective.
Saraki,
he has taken
not
us.
Sarki,
Sarki?
Saraki.
Oh, Saraki. Okay. Yes, thank you so much. So he has taken us through what Islamic protocol is, taking us through the historical perspective. He has taken us through the categories. He has taken us through the basics. You know, the issue of good manner, you know, is there. The issue of spiritual protocol, which has to do with the doctrine. It's also there. It took us through the need for clarity, the need for order, the need for respect. And one thing I love so much is the issue of what we call ancient and modern, you know, because we are bringing what has been to what it is now. But the key take home here is let's not lose value of the tenets of Islam, because we are bringing the ancient to the modern, which is good, but we should not lose value of the tenets of Islam. He has also told us the advantages of protocol to both Muslim and non-Muslim. If you read the Quran chapter 2, 256, I will go. I've not read the Quran before, but I will go and look for that portion to read because it's very, very interesting. It talks about peaceful coexistence, respect, for one another, which is very key, which is what protocol speaks about. Respect, hierarchy, and honor. And Islam from the Quran has told us it is embedded in the scriptures. So we need to be guided by all that we have seen. Thank you so much. I'll open the floor for questions. If there are any, you can send your question to the chat box. I will read them so that our brother Abubakar Mohammed Musa will respond to those questions. Send in your questions, your comments. Celebrate our guest speaker. He has done amazingly well. Seriously, I never got to know this aspect does existed, in religious protocol. But my mind was telling me we need to hear of the Islamic aspects because these are the two major religions we have in Nigeria. And today we have learned a lot. Is an eye-opener. Yes, the floor is open. In the next 5 minutes, we'll wrap it up. Tijani?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, there are questions. You can take them and send them to to me so that or to Minabai so that Abubakar can respond from our participants.
Okay, so I have we have 5 questions. So
Okay,
which I'm sending to you.
you can read them out to him.
Okay, excellent. Yes. So I can read the questions out. So if we are able to cover them, can you hear me clearly?
Abubakar, hope you can hear Tijani.
Yes, I can hear Tijani.
Thank you.
Okay, Tijani, go on.
Yes, one of the questions we have here, it goes thus, said, what are the key principles of adab, in bracket it says Islamic etiquette, that should guide our behavior during professional or diplomatic engagements? I think those are already weaved into the presentation. Should I read, how many are we taking? Should I read the 3? Should I go ahead
Let's
and read
have
the
the
second one?
let's have the 3 questions, and then they
Okay.
should also look at the paper. Just like you said, most of them are embedded in the paper. But go ahead and read, and the ones he will respond, he'll be able to respond.
Exactly. Okay, so the second one goes, in what way can we balance cultural protocol norms with Islamic protocol teachings when
Very
dealing,
important.
yes, when dealing with international or interfaith audience? This is very
Mohammed, can you take this question? Can you respond to this?
Repeat the question once again, please.
so this second one, right? This looks very
Yes,
important.
Yes.
In what ways can we balance cultural protocol norms, okay, with Islamic protocol teachings when dealing with international or interfaith audience? How do we balance? Okay.
Thank you very much for this question. To balance, in order for us to balance between Islamic protocol and modern.
I will copy and paste it. Let me just copy and paste it. Mr. Julius, can you put it on the chat for him? Let me see. That's number 3rd question. Let me pick that. But it's very interesting, so we need to pick this question. Yeah. I'll put it on your WhatsApp. Let me see.
Yes, sir.
Just a moment. Okay. I'll share with Mr. Minaba.
Okay.
Mr. Minaba, can you forward to Mr. Mohammed? I don't have his number. Put it on your WhatsApp. Let me pick it from there. So I'll be taking it again while it's being shared. In what ways can we balance cultural protocol norms with Islamic protocol teachings when dealing with international and interfaith audience? Okay.
Mohammed, can you respond?
Yes, sir. To respond, yes, sir. To respond to this question, the best thing for one to do, a good protocol officer to do, is to conduct research. Research is cyclical. Research, one can conduct research at the initial stage. During the main work, research will continue to be conducted. So for one to handle issues like this, one need to know the place where the guest is coming from, the region, their culture, and the religion they practice. For example, when an Arab or a Muslim protocol officer is expected to host someone from ancient countries like this, one needs to know or communicate to work hand in hand between himself and his counterparts of the other team that they are expected to host. For example, shaking hands between opposite gender, which is not allowed in Islam, except it's between except it's only between relatives. So apart from conducting research, then communication can also serve, while on the other hand, communication gap may mar the process. I hope I've answered the question.
Perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Yes, thank you very much. We want to add something. Yes, it's very interesting one.
Yes, I would want Mr. Bubakar to comment. I shared that video online on LinkedIn and on Facebook. I don't know if you saw that video.
Thank you.
So, Abubakar, I don't know if you saw that video. I want you to comment on that video because we're talking about international events, right? International gatherings, right?
Actually coming here because it's the two religion now that it can affect.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the Chinese president, on the other hand, was receiving the Malaysian prime minister, and then
that's a very good example. I like it.
So Abubakar, share light on it. Share light on that.
That's what I've been trying to call. It's a lacuna from both sides. For example, the Malaysian people that visited Chinese or that meet Chinese president then supposed to their protocol officer or protocol team lead supposed to communicate with them ahead of time in order for them, for both parties, to avoid embarrassment, or how can I say it? Because it looks somehow, but it touched my my mind. I felt somehow. she refused to shake the president who intends to shake her. Instead, she just go ahead and shake the president's wife.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, it's lack of research ahead of time. 1, 2, communication gap as well. 3, taking things, seeing things as that's not too important. While small thing may mar the whole process. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Over
Thank
to
you
you.
so much. I also saw that video. It's obvious that a lot of research was not done, and there was this communication gap was there. But I also saw another stuff that has to do with the king of
Let
Jordan.
me add one thing, please.
Okay, go on.
Not even the issue of religious protocol internationally only. Even here in Nigeria, apart from religion, our cultural differences matter a lot. For instance, now, if I'm to play the role of a protocol personnel to handle someone that is coming from another geopolitical zone, apart from other than northern Nigeria, for example, and it deals with going to a royal palace, I must make sure that I did not make a mistake. I will tell the lady that she should not even try to shake the emir. I will show her how to greet him, and to some extent, we will just look for something like a small veil. We will not make it compulsory, but we will suggest that you should wear something like scarf or a small veil. It will attract respect for her, and it will set an agenda or a headline after she left. They will appreciate it.
You're right. In the Islamic world, as a woman, I think you need to cover your hair. I remember going to the Sultan's palace sometime this year, and I could see that we were all sitting on the floor, which was like part of the tradition. It was beautiful, and we advised the women in the delegates to dress moderately and to ensure that their hair is covered. Thank you so much. But I want to share an insight. I saw the visit of the King of Jordan, King Abdallah, and his wife to the Vatican. And that's just recent. The dress code was modern to Western. Maybe because they were in the Vatican. The king's wife was dressed in a black gown beyond her knee, with shoes to match, covering her toes. It was just like Western, it was in a Western style. It was not completely covering from head to toe. And the king himself was dressed in a beautiful suit. He was not wearing, you know what I mean. He wasn't wearing a cap or I don't know what you call it. Just like the cap you're wearing or the turban. But it was normal. He was wearing a suit. Yeah, go on.
Yes, one thing, sir, with these Arabs like Europeans, Western world style too much. But I want to draw the attention of you people and my listeners out there that Arab's culture is totally different from the provisions of Islam. Arab's culture is something else. Provisions of Islam is provisions of Islam. Whether you decided to follow it or you did not decide to follow it, Arab's culture before didn't determine religious provision, and it's not determining the religious provision even now. In the future, it will not determine the religious provision. That's not the truth.
Now I understand. What you are saying is not all Arabs practice the Islamic religion.
Exactly. There are Christians among them, if you don't know.
Wow.
And they speak
I can.
fluently. I swear to God, fluently they speak. They speak Arabic.
Interesting.
Yes, I can see.
Interesting
Interesting.
with
clarification.
with the slangs,
Well,
with and what have you, and not all Arabic inscriptions and writings that are Quran or Hadith. Some are even
okay.
poets, and not all that you will be seeing with turban that are malams. Some are even beggars. They
Okay.
have their own drums in their own on the this thing.
Okay. Now I see. Now I understand
Yes.
the difference between culture and religion.
Yeah.
I remember in Egypt, you still have the Orthodox Coptic Church. They are Arabs, but they are Christians. But because they are in an Arabic environment, they tend to dress, moderately towards Islam, but
Mm.
different different cultures, different religion. Thank you so much for
Exactly.
that clarification.
And, and, and,
Uh,
and also, language difference matter. For example, here that we use English as a modern as a means of communication, language of communication. When Christians refer to Jesus Christ, they will say Jesus, while in Arabic language they will say Al-Masih.
Al-Masih.
Al-Masih. Yes, Al-Masih. In
Okay.
Hausa, they borrowed it from Arabic. In Hausa, they say Al-Masihu, Isa dan Maryam.
Okay. That's meaning the Messiah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay. Okay. I get it. I get it. Thank you so much. Thank you, Malam Abubakar Muhammad Musa, for the insights that we've shared. We've all learned, and it will help us in our interactions with various religions, with various cultures. Thank you so much. We hope to see more of these insights. And from members of my team, I want to say a big thank you for making this possible. Minabai Sebofa, I deeply appreciate your insights in the church perspective. Tijani, thank you for always being there. Samuel, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And to our president and members of the ESCO, our president is unavoidably absent. He's somewhere in some part of the globe. I think he had some issues joining us, but he sends his warm greetings to everyone. And to all members of the ACCPN, keep learning, keep on learning, and keep relearning. Together, we'll be able to elevate professionalism in protocol practice. Until we come your way again next month, November, with a bang. Next month, November, let me let the cat out of the bag. We'll be talking about the body language of protocol. The body language of protocol. That will be our topic for next month. So just invite your friends, send the link to your friends, and let's be part of it. Once again, thank you so much and have a beautiful day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Bye-bye. See you in November.
Bye-bye. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.